Awesome. So I'm going to bring our speaker off stage now. Hi, Chidera. How are you doing today?
Can everyone see me? I can't see myself. Okay. Thank you for having me. Really thankful for the platform to share. Uh, always,
You're very
always willing to speak on topics that affect women. Is my forte more like. But deepfakes, as it is not necessarily a crime by itself. It is actually a tool that has been used for so many good purposes. So I'd like to start that way first, so that we know that we're not here trying to just, mm, uh, just claw at the deepfake in general. But what we're talking about today is when deepfakes are being used for nefarious purposes. I like to think of technology as the word that we hear every day, but really, what is technology? I call it a tool, just like everything else. Technology really is a tool. And for me, I believe that what happens with that tool, or what is created out of that tool, or what that tool is used to further, really is a product of the person who is wielding this tool. So technology for me is neither good nor bad, but be either depending on the person who wields this technology. So technology has found expression in so many ways. We have social media, we have so many ways, and it continues to expand, it continues to grow, it continues to get better. Now we have something called artificial intelligence, really just machine imitating human intelligence. That's exactly what artificial intelligence is, where you have a machine try to learn like a human being, go to school, learn. You feed that machine data sets to learn with, just the way we would feed ourselves with books. And the machine is meant to learn and retain information, and at the same time, eventually be able to extrapolate information based on the data that it has already been fed with. That's really the gist of machine learning, without going into the core details. AI is rapidly becoming an integral part of our lives. I'm sure we've seen it in so many applications in so many sectors across health, finance, everywhere. But the advancement of AI also has some ethical challenges that we try to talk about, just so that we're aware that we're not here to say that we don't want, or we're against AI. That is absolutely out of it, because we have to embrace innovation. That's exactly how it works. But and at the same time, we need to make sure that while embracing innovation, we keep in mind that there are rules and regulations that have to be put in place to check innovation. That is really what we're trying to do with AI ethics in particular. Uh, so deepfakes really are just manipulated media, digital media, but manipulated so such that someone is uh, depicted as doing something that they are not actually doing, or even just created from scratch. Sometimes it could be someone's image transposed on another person's face and altered in a way that that person is shown as doing something they're not doing. Or it could be that someone is created from scratch using AI applications like DAL-E. There's a technology called DAL-E, where you just put prompts, you tell the AI what you're trying to build or trying to draw, and the AI sort of generates images based on your prompts or your user prompts. So deepfakes could be transposing one person's image on another's. It could also be creating images from scratch. So, of course, as you would know, there are so many concerns, including a particular new form of sexual abuse called image-based sexual abuse, IMBA, using deepfakes. It's defined by Wikipedia as altering videos or media to create synthetic media in which a person in an existing image or video is replaced with the image or likeness of another person. Like I said, it could be that. It could also be just generating someone else, an entirely artificial person from scratch. I already explained that this is achieved using machine learning being teaching the technology in the first place how to recognize patterns and how to extrapolate information out of these patterns. How machine learning really is used to create deepfakes by using algorithms that would teach themselves how to solve problems with large data sets. And these data sets will be used to swap someone's image or likeness from a video or image itself. And this content is sort of created to make it appear real, as if this person is actually doing something that they're not doing. So you can call it like a synthetic clone or a digital clone, if you like. Usually these videos are harmless. They used to be very harmless, funny pictures, videos, but over time, deepfakes started finding expression in more, or being used in more nefarious ways. Like you would recall, like some time ago when you would see maybe like a Barack Obama doing something in a video and clearly he's not the person, or a Trump being, presented as doing something that he's not doing. It was all fun and games at the time. Of course, like I said, deepfakes, they found expressions for positive use. There was a time when it was used after Paul Walker died. I don't know if anyone here knows Paul Walker. He used to be a star of the Fast and Furious series. After he died, his likeness had to be replaced using AI. So they had to create like a synthetic media of him, which was used to replace him after following his death, so that the rest of the series could be concluded and completed. So deepfakes can be used for so many good things, but there's also the possibility for harm, which is why we're here in the first place. So when deepfakes are used to create synthetic media, this synthetic media could be used in so many ways. Sometimes the synthetic media could be placed in dating platforms, making it appear that the person that you're having a conversation with, the person that you're connecting with, is the person that it appears to be, whereas that person is either a clone of someone else or really just does not exist in the first place. In fact, deepfakes can clone videos, deepfakes can clone the voice of the person speaking as well. So it's not just images, you have the video, so you can have a whole video call with a deep fake using the voice of the proposed speaker. Also, they were applied to pornography as well, pornographic videos, where women, especially, well, the men and women, but a very large population of a very large percentage of women were made to appear in porn videos that they had no idea they were in the first place. So basically what they do, they get your image from social media, or maybe someone who knows you from anywhere, just anyone who has access to your image or a video of you, and decides to clone you on an existing porn video, making it appear so real, where you actually believe that you're the one, or well, not you, but anyone else can be made to believe that you're in a pornographic video. So this is a form of image-based sexual abuse, because everything else that applies to the traditional sexual abuse, like an absence of consent, like an absence of mutual understanding and the rest, everything else is applied to image-based sexual abuse as well, because your images and your videos are being transposed onto the images and faces of people in porn videos without your consent, and you will most likely face the same types of peril that someone who has been a victim of an actual sexual abuse, well, the traditional sexual abuse, you could really share the same perils and consequences as a result. You could suffer harm, reputational damage. You could suffer so many things. I have a few examples of women who've suffered this. Usually the women who, there's usually a lot of motivations behind it, if you like. It could be a form of revenge. It could be a form of circumventing consent. It could be done so that you could injure someone's social reputation. It could be done as an instrument of blackmail as well. The two examples I have, the women were victims of this deepfake technology for sexual offenses, for virtual sexual offenses, like image-based sexual offenses. And these women were top politicians in their country. But at a time when they had been campaigning well enough and were nearing the peak of their success, they woke up one day and realized that they were in a porn video. And I have an extract from one of them. She recalls that one very random day in 2020, she's casually strolling through her phone like the rest of us, and she opens Twitter to see that she's been starred in a new porn video. She was devastated, she was disoriented, she was shaking. She said, "This panic just washed over me. I couldn't think clearly in that moment. I remember just feeling like this video is going to go everywhere. Your mind just goes into absolute overdrive. But when was that? Who am I having sex with? I don't remember. I don't think I consented to this," in her words. And of course, she went into the process of trying to take down the videos. So it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of process, but it doesn't take as much time to spread these images or videos that have been created out of using synthetic media. So of course, like I said, there's a lot of harm that can come out of this, from injury to social reputation to it could be used for blackmail as well, depending on the circumstance. The lady in question, she said that she realized eventually when the perpetrators were brought to book, she realized that the motives were to bully her into silence because she was an active advocate for gender rights, sexual abuse, against sexual abuse. But the plan was to bully her, see if they can extort some money from her, and then there was some iota of revenge in it as well. So it's something that, and this is just one, there's so many women. In fact, recently in Korea, there's a Telegram that exists, a Telegram that was created. And this Telegram, all you need to do is to go through a link on X, formerly Twitter. You can access this Telegram. You go in, once you get into this Telegram page or channel, there's an image bot right there at the entrance, if you like, that converts the photographs of women into AI generated images and nude deepfake images, to be precise. There was a user who wanted to run an experiment on this. He's called Hank Kiore. He entered this channel and he said the moment he got in, a message popped up asking the user to upload a photograph of a woman, if you like. He uploaded an AI generated photograph of a woman, and within 5 seconds, he says, the channel generated nude deep fake of that particular photograph. The tool even allows users to, to sort of edit, sort of customize the body parts, if you like, according to what you prefer. Now, as I'm speaking to you, as of Wednesday, the 21st of August, this particular channel has about 227,000 users. Of course, like I said already, deepfakes could be used to create fake profiles for online dating. You're talking to somebody, you don't know that the person you're talking to is not the person they make themselves out to be. It's not the image you're seeing. It's not even when you have a video call, you could be talking to a bot, you could be talking to a fake synthetic media. They can be used to impersonate someone else, to create an entirely fictitious person. Even the audio technology, the deepfake audio technology, like I spoke about, can be used to create fake voice messages or video calls to convince you that you're interacting with a real person. Consequences, as you can tell: catfishing, blackmail, extortion, depending on the circumstance. There's been measures that have been put in place to sort of protect against nefarious uses of deepfakes, but we have more progress in more developed countries like the US, Canada, UK. The US, for instance, has some acts and regulations focusing directly on deepfakes in particular, we have the National Defense Authorization Act, which includes a provision for addressing the problem of deepfakes, the Digital Services Act as well. In California, they passed two bills, I think 2 years ago, to make certain aspects of deepfake illegal. Remember, deepfake in itself is not illegal. It's just the wrong application of it that makes it illegal. And of course, there's a new EU AI Act that has just been, I'm trying to be very sure because I know there's still some reading done, but the new proposed AI Act that is meant to govern the entirety of Europe has now included a section that mandates people who create deepfakes to mark the image or the video or the audio as deepfake, so that the person interacting with the deepfake understands that they are interacting with deepfake. Now, this obligation extends beyond the person using, extends to the people, the people behind the technology in the first place. So if there's a tool, there's an app you can use to create deepfakes, the people behind the app, the obligation extends to them. They have to, whenever you create an image, there has to be some watermark or some mark, something to show that this image or video or audio is a deepfake. And the reason is so that the person interacting knows exactly what they're interacting with. There are no recorded regulations in Africa concerning deepfakes in particular, but there are some overreaching regulations, if you like the Cybercrime Act. These ones, Cybercrime Act here in Africa, Cybercrime Act in Nigeria and South Africa, sorry, they cover a wide range of cyber offenses, identity theft, fraud, so you can bring deepfakes within them. Also, the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation and other data protection laws across Africa, they have some provisions that address data privacy and protection in particular, and you could apply this to deepfakes as well, because deepfakes involve taking your personal media, your personal data, to create a synthetic data. So they can be a cause of action. They can be a criminal act under the cybercrime, and of course they can also be a cause of action under the data protection regulation in Nigeria and across Africa. I have further recommendations. I think that policymakers should be advised to continue to push for more laws for regulation of deepfake technology in particular, and cyberbullying as a whole. We need to continue to raise public consciousness as well, because I heard someone say earlier that they had no idea what a deepfake was. In fact, I believe that so many of us have encountered deepfakes. So many of us have had, but we just never knew what it was, or we did not know it had a name. But we need to continue to raise public consciousness so that we know that these things exist. That way we should be more careful what we put out there, what we share, what we do with our data. There should be more measures to ensure that laws are enforced as well, because it's one thing to have laws, it's another thing to enforce them. And enforcing laws mean that we can put checks and balances in place so that the laws are actually being put to good use. It might be difficult to find the perpetrators of the crime itself, but I also believe that the people behind the technology, they're usually very easy to find. You can't, they're always there. You can find the person behind the technology. So even if you can't find the user himself or herself, there is a good chance that we can find the person behind the technology. We can find the person behind the website, if this is a porn site, for instance, and we can do our best to make sure the government, of course, can do their best to work with these people to make sure that there are fines put in place, that they are sanctioned, especially when they fail to act swiftly, when a report has been made, when someone has gone to tell them that, I think my image has been used for deepfakes. we would expect that they would act quickly, because we know that anything put online spreads very rapidly. But if we can have some reassurance from them that they would act as fast as they can to make to curtail the widespread the spread of this particular media or image. In the face of this particular seeming hopelessness, we have to, do what we can. While we wait for government, while we wait for regulations, we have to do what we can as a people to protect ourselves. And one of them is what we're doing now, awareness. We have to make sure that people know how deepfakes work. Remember, I said deepfakes in itself are not illegal because they can be used for so many positive purposes. But when they're used for nefarious purposes, then they become a cause for concern. So we need to know that, we need to be aware. So more awareness, speak to the people in your space, speak to people that you can find around you, talk about these things, use your channel, your voice, your social media. Also, very important, very, very important is to watch what you post on social media. It's almost impossible to say don't post or don't. No, I think we all do. But if you can curtail who has access, what you post as much as you can, doing what is reasonable, given that we all, we all exist on social media these days. But whatever you can do reasonably to protect yourself when using social media. Make sure you maintain a high level of security on all your electronic devices. Limit access to your personal images on social media. If you're having conversations with someone and you have any doubt, video conversations or any virtual meeting with anyone, and you have any doubt that this person is who they purport to be, it's always a good idea to carry out something I call a liveness check. A liveness check is just trying to see that you're talking to a real person. It's like when we try to do something and they tell us to confirm that we're human beings. When we try to use some tool or even on Google and they say, oh, confirm that you're a human being. So something like that, basically. When you're having a video interaction with someone, you can request random and unpredictable real-time actions and movements from them. It could be telling them to blink. I mean, you don't do it in a way that arouses suspicion as well. Especially, you don't want to give them any idea that you have an idea what might be going on. So you can find a way to get them to blink, get them to smile, to laugh, real-time actions that require real immediate responses, because pre-engineered bots would not be able to replicate these actions convincingly as a human being would. You would most likely see glitches, or it would take a while to respond because it needs time to process the information. But as opposed to a human being who would most likely give an immediate response. If you find yourself a victim, hopefully not, but I have a bit of just a little bit here about victim support. You have to breathe. It's a very stressful situation, but you need to know that you have to make a rational decision at this point. First thing, you have to collect evidence. Collect the evidence of the images on these platforms. The images, you can do a screen recording if you like of the video interaction with the person or bot in this case, or take screenshots, anything you can to collect evidence. When you have done this, you contact the platform, because the first thing you want to do is to curtail spread. Like I said, lodge a complaint requesting a takedown immediately. Request that they take down this image, they take down, ask that, because you have a right to be forgotten. So even Google, you can request from Google, one of your data protection rights, data privacy rights as a person is a right to be forgotten. And a right to be forgotten means that you can write to Google telling them that you don't want any of your media or any of your data, that you want all your data that they have, but you also want them deleted completely, and they have to comply with this. You can apply this in this situation as well. You can write the platform, you can write the Instagram, you can raise tickets wherever, you can raise complaints everywhere, ask them to take it down so you can curtail it as soon as possible. When you've managed to do that, or even before then, you have to also contact a police person around you, the local police, and as soon as it's practicable, when you've lodged a complaint with the police, I think the best thing is to seek legal representation immediately. Look for advocates or even just legal professionals that can start the process of remedying the wrong that has been done. It's going to be a trying time for you. It's going to be very daunting, but also try to surround yourself with friends and family because you need as much support as you can. But for the most of it, it's come to stay. Technology is not going anywhere. It's only going to get better from here. In fact, as we're having this conversation, there's every possibility that they've started creating better deepfakes that would even give you real-time responses. It's going to get better and keep getting better. But we have to make sure that while we're enjoying all of the benefits of technology, like we're having this meeting with me versus me where I am across the globe and you somewhere else, and we're all here because of technology. So we can't take away from what technology has to offer, but we can make sure that we protect ourselves as well. While the behind the scene, the lawyers, the advocates, the courts, the government, they're doing everything they can to create laws and regulations, working with the people behind the technology. We ourselves, we need to do what we can to protect ourselves as a people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
I missed the last part.
Oh, sad.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any question for our speaker today? I do have a few questions, but I would like to hear what folks have for her before I go ahead with mine. Yeah, okay, Confident has a question. So she's asking if you shared your data on an app which you signed up using a Google account but currently have uninstalled and disconnected the app from your Google account, do the app still have access to your data? Oh, okay, interesting.
This is a
Um,
very data
do you?
protection centered question. If I understand correctly, if you signed up to an app through Google and now you've uninstalled the app, if the app still has your data, if do you want to just let me know
Yeah,
that this is a question? Okay, yes, I'm
yeah.
reading it
I
now.
think
I'd
that's
like to
exactly what
ask
I was.
if you shared your data on an app which you signed up using Google account, but currently have uninstalled and disconnected the app from your Google account. Do the app still have access to your data? Yes, the app has access to your data because the app acted as a data controller, while Google in this particular scenario is just a processor that the app uses as a middleman sort of. But the app is the data controller, so definitely they have access to your data. The only way, and uninstalling doesn't mean that your data would be deleted by the app. No, you would have to request that your data is deleted. You could request to be that your account in total is deleted, but until then, the app still has access to your data, as well as Google.
As well as Google. Awesome. Wow. I never knew stuff like that existed where I could, request for my details to be deleted off a platform. That's really interesting, and I think that's something to pick out of this conversation today. If no one remembers anything else,
Yeah,
all right.
the data protection law allows you about 6 rights as a data subject that allows you to request your data to be deleted, allows you to request your data, to request access to what data they have of you, allows you
Mm,
to request that your data is sent to another company. It's called data
mm,
portability. So
right.
you could request that an MTN, for instance, sends your data over to Nile Mobile, and they have to um, comply with this request at no cost to you. Even the right to be forgotten you don't have to make any payments. You can request to have your data, to make any rectification on your data where you've realized that there's an error with your data, with the data that they have. You can request to rectify your data. Also, if your data has been processed using artificial intelligence and you're not satisfied with the outcome, you can request to find out how the technology came about, the decision, the logic behind the reasoning of the technology, if you like, the reasoning or just the processing, if you like.
Amazing, amazing. Wow. Um, Ladies, show of hands if you knew about this before now. I'm seeming very dumb now. Like this is my first time hearing this, and I just want to feel like I'm not alone in this. So, um, all right. So I'm just going to go ahead with my question, but you already answered one, right? And I'm also going to turn off my video because my network is very poor today. Um, so yeah, when you mentioned for us to seek legal get legal representation, on taking off our details on a particular platform, you already answered that it's at low cost, because I was very worried about the cost, if it's going to be affordable to people in remote areas, underrepresented folks that would also like stuff like that too, or generally anyone that couldn't afford it. So, but yeah, thank you for clearing that up. But also, I also wanted to like quickly ask, what's the process like if one wanted to like go for taking off their details of a particular platform, like for a platform like X, for instance. Now, do I need to like, what do I need to put in place, right, to be able to successfully get my details taken off the platform, right? I don't know if you already mentioned this. Maybe my network was troubling at that time, but if you could please be kind enough to let us know those steps to take to yeah to achieve that.
Thankfully, it's not a very complex process. The most you need to do is to find out the account that you need to write to, the email address you need to write to. The most platforms will have so many email addresses for so many purposes, for support, for information, for complaints. So you can find those ones. Usually, the best practice is put all of them in there, copy all of them, target ones around information at this, info at this, support at this, complaints at instagram.com, uh, uh, generic email addresses that seem to be focused on the user. Find those email addresses if you like, and you can send an email to them. You can compose an email to these email addresses and make your request that way. Even if they're not the ones handling data subject requests, they would most likely direct you to the right channel. But it's always a good place to
Yeah.
start from those places. When you finally meet whoever is in charge of data subject access requests, it's called DISA. That person would most likely ask you for some information, your name, your date of birth, what duration you want deleted. If it's on Google, for instance, what tenure, what timeline do you want deleted? Do you want between 2012 to 2024? Or do you want your data since the first day you used Google to be deleted? It depends. Just so give them a timeline that you want your data deleted, and they'll process. They have a timeline within which to process your requests, but they have to process it eventually. Otherwise, you can bring a report against them. If you're in Nigeria, you can bring a report against them with the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation. If you're in the UK, the
Mm.
UK Data Protection Regulation. If you're in the EU, the General the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. So depending on where you are, you can very easily bring a report. But the first thing is to make sure that you try to reach the company and make sure that they actually um, do something about it. That's why I said copy as much people as you can to the email, as much generalized email addresses as you can find. Someone is definitely going to point you in the right direction.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We have a few more questions in the chat, but I wanted to confirm with you if you still have time.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, awesome. So, Peace is asking, what are the most promising technology advancements in detecting deep fakes, and how can these be made accessible to the public, especially to women?
Um, Technological advancements still in the works for the most of it that I know about. I
Ah,
was recently contacted, but at least I know that they're in the works because I was recently contacted by the computer science department from the University of Birmingham here in the UK, and they were looking to collaborate with me as a legal researcher to create a technology that helps women to feel, not women, just I mean users. It's called privacy filter. So it's a technology where your image can pass through, and with this, if you pass your image through this tool, your image cannot be used for deepfakes. And even when it's used, it's going to produce a very low quality image, but not visible with a lot of blurs, and would also put a marking that this is a deepfake. So there, I know that there are technologies, there are conversations around that, the technologies being developed, but at this time, I'm not sure that I know anyone in particular. Um, of course, the only thing I know right now is that the EU has been able to secure some sort of regulation through the EU Act, requesting that, not requesting, demanding that people who create deepfakes and people who are behind the technology itself have to mark whatever image is created using that technology as a deepfake. I know that technologies are being created behind the scene, but I don't know anyone that's finished yet.
right, right. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know sometimes reading could be a problem for a lot of people, but I mean, taking a look at the EU Act, for instance, now could be, very helpful place to find out what is available, what rights you have, what you just mentioned regarding the regulations that the EU has put in place. If you don't read these things, you probably will not be aware, right? So let's make reading our friends. We need to do better as a collective.
I mean, we could also be hoping uh, that these laws are replicated in, across Africa because we're lacking in these laws. Because even when we're aware of what laws apply in the EU, for instance, we don't know that we can get as much protection from these laws because we're not within the jurisdiction. But we can hope and keep, well, not praying, but we keep nudging the government as we are doing already through our voice, through whatever channel that we have to do what needs to be done to protect users of these
Mm.
of social media, in fact, of the internet, to protect people on the internet in particular.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I actually missed that. Yeah, that's true. We're not within that jurisdiction, and that's also all right. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you so much. So one more question, I think. Oh, I think you've answered this. How can women proactively protect their digital identities from being used in deepfakes? And are there any tools or processes you recommend for this purpose? Uh, that looks like a two-in-one question. Do you
How
want
can
to answer that?
I'm
Yeah,
looking for
sure.
I just found it. Okay. How can women proactively protect their digital identities from being used in deepfakes? Are there any tools or practices you recommend for this? But just that's exactly what I said. There being there we're hoping that being that the EU or most of these Western countries are leaders in the tech space, if they're able to implement the laws and enforce it as should, then we should have more technology, we should have more tools at our disposal to use. But for now, there hasn't been a lot of, because the EU Act is really just very novel. It hasn't even been fully implemented yet. It's not fully enforced yet. So when it's enforced and it's implemented, we hope to receive some of the benefits, being that most of the people behind the technology would have to take some responsibility for the technology itself. So even when our images are used, they would be marked as a deepfake. But to proactively protect, right now we don't have that I know about anyways, but I'll do some more research eventually. But now that I know about, we don't have such tools. But we, just like I said, there's one I know that is currently being in the books. It's called the privacy filter, like I spoke about. Uh, as soon as that is within that I know more, I'll do well to let Blessing know. Maybe there'll be a post on LinkedIn on She Code Africa. Yes. Yeah, someone said cyber hygiene is critical. Just do whatever you can within your reach to make sure that you check what you post on social media. Be very certain who you're conversing with. Um, uh, limit within reasonable scale if you prefer, and that's a good place to start at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you say be certain about who you're conversing with. I think you also made mention of, was it the liveness check? I don't know if I got
Yes.
that correctly. Where yeah. So you get the person on the call to maybe even blink twice, so I know you're real.
And
and
you might not have to
and
do it
also,
that way because you don't want to alarm your
yeah. I know, right? I know, right? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Then just do anything that you can within your power, just to make sure that you're not pushing out a lot of sensitive info about yourself on social media, on the internet, right? Amazing. Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Peace, for that comment. So I think that will be all, ladies. Do you have any final words for us before we call it a wrap?
I saw a question here earlier. I'm just trying to see. I would like to ask if you shared
Oh,
your data. Oh, no, not that one. Let me, for instance, this
okay.
Instagram thread app, Mark said deleting the thread
Oh, that's
implies
interesting.
deleting your Instagram account as well. Can a user request for the thread app details to be deleted independently? Yes, yes. So deleting the thread account itself, because the account is linked to the your Instagram. But if you make a
Mm,
request that your details from the account is deleted and as if it never existed, whatever data that you have there, that way they can have a dormant account but does not have any link or trace to you, but that still allows you to retain your Instagram. So you're requesting that in every detail that concerns that account is deleted. Since I mean it's merged, I think the wise thing would be to request that the detail itself, all the data tying you to that account is deleted. So the account can exist as a dormant account, but that way you're able to enjoy your Instagram as well without having to delete the account totally. I think that would be the best. But I need to read on this. It should not be that you shouldn't delete thread without deleting Instagram account as well. Uh, I think that Mark is going to come on that some conversations around this because it's very, it needs some reform. Um, Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for having me. She Code Africa. I had a good time. I hope everyone has taken or has something to take from this, whatever point,
mm,
whatever note you can take from this. The most important thing is to know that you're responsible for yourself first. So as much as possible, just be aware, be mindful of what you're doing, be very intentional
mm.
with your communications, with sharing images, with putting yourself out there as much as we want to put ourselves out there. Make sure you can create a barrier to protect you. as well. And if they manage to slip through the barrier, like I said, don't be scared to reach out for help, to write the first thing after you've collected evidence, write the company or the platform to start to take out the data immediately, the content. That way you can curtail as much as possible the spread of the deepfake itself. Um, but nothing to panic about. I try to make sure that we don't live panicked, but at least that we are aware. It's not a cause for some paranoia, but being aware makes us more careful
Mm.
what we're doing, and it's not the worst of it. But technology has to continue to thrive, but we have to find a way to make ourselves um, secluded from whatever mishaps would result from the use of technology itself.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Thanks everyone. Thank you so much, Chidera. This was really eye-opening, very insightful, and quite engaging as well. Thank you everyone who interacted. Thank you everyone for the kind words. And yeah, I think we've come to the close of this session. I wanted to say let's have a group photo, but MTN said today is not my day. So I can. Chidera, you want to do that?
Okay, let me see if I can. I think
Oh,
I've
yeah,
taken a
thank you.
screenshot already.
So we've come to the end of this session, and this event is brought to you by She Could Africa. If you don't already know, we're a non-profit focused on empowering and celebrating African women in tech. We do this through various means, mentorship programs, academic programs, events, webinars, and a lot more, right? And this is the one of the pre-summit webinars, and the goal for this is to get you aware of talks or topics that matters, right, leading up to this year's summit happening in Lagos, Nigeria on the 21st of September. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, regular tickets are on sales and you should go grab one. So yeah, that'll be all. We have more sessions coming up. We have one on how you can craft an amazing blueprint for your leadership career, and another on financial literacy and auditing as well. So if you have the time, please join us September 4th and September 14th to be a part of those sessions. So I will stop recording now.